All right, so get this. Today we're diving deep into something called the strangest secret.
Oh, that's a catchy title.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Who doesn't love a good secret?
Especially one that promises to, like, change your whole life for everything.
Exactly. So, it really got me thinking, like, what is this secret?
Yeah.
And how could it impact my life? Like, is it some kind of ancient wisdom
Well, it kind of is.
or a newfangled technique?
Mm.
What are we dealing with here?
Well, the really interesting thing is the guy who kind of brought this secret to light, Earl Nightingale.
Okay.
He wasn't just like some guru on a mountaintop.
Right.
He was a super successful entrepreneur.
Oh, wow.
But he was also like this deep thinker
Okay.
who really wanted to understand like what makes people not just successful, but like truly fulfilled.
Yeah.
And back in 1956, he recorded this thing called The Strangest Secret.
1956. That's quite a while ago.
I know, right? But here's the thing. It's still so relevant today.
So it's like stood the test of time.
Totally.
Yeah.
And, there's even a modern podcast that's dissecting it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which proves like how timeless his ideas are.
So we've got this OG recording
Yeah.
and like a modern take on it. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? All right. I'm hooked. Let's unpack this. What's this secret all about?
Well, at its core, the secret is this idea that we become what we think about.
Okay, I've heard that before. Like, think positive and good things will happen.
Right.
So what makes this secret so strange then?
Well, it's strange because it's so simple, but it's also incredibly powerful.
Okay.
And the weird thing is, even though this idea has been around for centuries,
Really?
yeah, it's kind of remained hidden in plain sight.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I follow you.
Okay, think about it. Like, we're literally surrounded by abundance.
Yeah.
There are opportunities everywhere you look.
Right, that's true.
But so many people feel stuck.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that way before.
Right. And the reason why is often because their mindset, like their dominant thoughts,
Okay.
are actually blocking them from seeing and seizing those opportunities.
So it's like we're getting in our own way.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a secret then,
Right.
because if we're not even aware of like what we're thinking most of the time,
Right.
we're basically just running on autopilot, aren't we?
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so then how do we break free from that?
Well, Nightingale, he uses this really brilliant analogy of a farmer planting seeds.
Okay.
Imagine, right, you got this farmer, and he's got two seeds.
Right.
One is a corn seed, and the other is nightshade.
Nightshade, isn't that like poison?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So he plants both of these seeds in, like, super fertile ground, right?
Yes.
Now, the land doesn't care what the farmer plants.
Right.
It's just going to return whatever he sows,
So one grows into like food and the other into something dangerous. Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Good. Our minds are like that fertile land, you see.
Okay.
They don't judge the thoughts. They just return what we plant.
Wow.
So if we're planting positive thoughts,
Uh-huh.
then we're going to get positive results, just like planting that corn seed, right?
Right, makes sense.
But, and this is the important part,
Okay.
if we're constantly planting those negative thoughts, those nightshade seeds,
Yeah.
well, we're likely going to get negative results.
That's kind of scary when you think about it.
It is, right?
Like we really do have that much power over our own lives.
Absolutely.
Huh. Okay, so if our thoughts are so powerful, why aren't we all, living these amazing lives
Right.
just by thinking happy thoughts all the time?
Well, because it's not quite as simple as just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
It's about really understanding how our minds work
Okay.
and then, like, consciously choosing which thoughts we want to cultivate.
So it's more about like being intentional with our thoughts.
Exactly. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Modern science is actually starting to back up what Nightingale was saying, all those years ago.
Wait, are you telling me there's like actual scientific evidence for this we become what we think about thing?
There is.
Wow, I always thought it was more of a philosophical concept,
It's both.
Okay, so what kind of science are we talking about here?
Well, for example, have you ever heard of the reticular activating system?
The what?
The reticular activating system, or RAS for short.
Okay, RAS, I'm with you now.
Cool. So the RAS is basically like a filter in your brain.
The filter.
Yeah, and it's constantly scanning for information that's relevant to whatever you're focused on at that moment.
Okay, so like if I'm thinking about, I don't know, starting a business, for example,
Yeah.
my RAS is going to be on the lookout for like business opportunities,
Exactly.
even if I might have like completely missed them before.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just noticing things, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the RAS actually influences what information your brain decides to prioritize, like what you remember.
Oh, wow. So it's helping us to like actually learn and grow in that direction.
It is. So if you're constantly focused on, say, success,
Hmm.
you're going to be more likely to remember those success stories.
Oh.
Notice those successful strategies.
Yeah.
And you might even find yourself attracting successful people into your life.
Hmm.
It's like you're basically programming your brain to seek out and create success.
So it's not just about like positive thinking, it's about actually training your brain to focus on what you want.
Exactly.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Right.
But doesn't that take a long time?
Well,
I mean, isn't our brain, kind of already set in its ways?
it might seem that way, but actually,
Like, can we really reprogram it to think differently?
that's where this idea of neuroplasticity comes in.
Or what now?
Neuroplasticity.
Okay, big word.
I know, right? But it's a really cool concept.
So break it down for me.
Basically, it means that our brains are constantly rewiring themselves based on our thoughts and experiences.
Hold on, so you're telling me the more I focus on positive thoughts,
Uh-huh.
the more my brain literally changes
Yeah.
to like support that positivity.
It does. It's like, imagine you're working out a muscle.
Okay, got it.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets, right?
Right.
It's the same with your brain. The more you focus on those positive thoughts,
Yeah.
the stronger those neural pathways become.
Hmm.
And over time, your brain literally gets wired for success, for happiness, for whatever you're choosing to focus on.
Okay, now that's pretty amazing.
It is. But here's the thing. It works both ways.
Oh, right. Like the more you focus on negative stuff,
Yeah.
the more your brain gets wired for that too.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see how powerful this could be, but also a little bit scary, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like we've had this incredible tool all along, but we haven't been using it to its full potential.
That's exactly what Nightingale wanted people to realize,
Yeah.
that we have way more control over our lives than we often think.
Okay.
And it all starts with our thoughts.
Our thoughts.
Yeah. So, it's one thing to talk about the power of thought and how it shapes our reality.
Right.
But Nightingale, he didn't just stop there.
Okay.
He actually gave people a plan to, put it into practice.
Oh, that's cool. So like a how-to guide for your mind.
Exactly. He called it the 30-day challenge.
30 days. Okay, so like a month-long experiment to change your life through the power of thought.
Pretty much.
All right, I'm intrigued. So how does this challenge work? What do you have to do?
Well, the first step is all about defining your goal.
Okay. Setting your sights on something specific.
Yeah. And I really want to emphasize the word specific here.
Okay.
Because it's not enough to just say, I want to be rich or I want to be happy.
Yeah, those are kind of vague.
They are, right? Those
Yeah.
are good starting points, but we need to get a lot more granular.
Okay, so how do we go from like a vague wish to a concrete goal?
We got to ask yourself, what does success actually look like for you? Like, what specific things would make you feel truly successful?
Okay, so instead of I want to be rich, maybe it's I want to earn $100,000 a year by starting my own online business.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I want to write a novel and get it published.
Perfect. Now you've got a target, something tangible to focus your thoughts on.
Okay, so we're getting specific.
Yeah, but don't stop there.
Oh, there's more.
Get even more specific. Like, how will you feel when you achieve this goal? What will your daily life actually look like?
So like paint a really detailed picture.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. But what if you have like multiple goals? Do you have to pick just one for this challenge?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Nightingale actually recommends focusing on one major goal at a time.
Okay, so prioritize.
Yeah, it's like, when you're shining a light,
Okay.
it's more effective to use a laser beam than like a floodlight.
Right, more focus.
Exactly. You're concentrating all your energy and attention on one specific outcome.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've defined our goal, we're laser focused. Now what? What's step 2?
All right, so step 2 is where things get really interesting.
Ooh, lay it on me.
This is where we tap into the power of visualization.
Visualization, so like daydreaming about our goal.
It's kind of like that, but way more intentional.
Okay.
You're not just thinking about your goal, you're actually creating this vivid mental picture in your mind.
Like I can actually see it happening.
Exactly. Close your eyes and really try to immerse yourself in the experience.
Okay.
See yourself achieving that goal. Feel the emotions, hear the sounds.
Wow, okay.
Even try to smell the scents, Engage all your senses.
So make it as real as possible.
The more real it feels, the more powerful the impact it has on your subconscious mind.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this connects back to that what was it, the
The
RAS?
reticular activating system.
Right, right. So for constantly visualizing our goal, our brain is going to start looking for ways to actually make it happen, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing is,
What's that?
our brains, they don't really distinguish between a vividly imagined experience
Yeah.
and a real one.
Really?
Yeah. So by consistently visualizing our goal, we're basically tricking our brains into believing it's already happened.
And then that kicks things into motion to make it actually happen.
Precisely.
Wow. Okay, I'm feeling pretty pumped about this. But let's be real, life isn't always sunshine and rainbows, right? There's a lot of negativity out there that can really bring us down.
Yeah, you're right.
So how do we deal with that? Like, how do we stay positive when everything around us feels so negative?
That's where step 3 comes in. Guarding your mind.
Guarding your mind.
Yeah, it's about becoming more aware of the information we're consuming
Okay.
and making conscious choices about what we let into our mental space,
So it's like creating a filter for your mind, blocking out the junk.
Exactly. And this applies to, like, everything, like external stuff, like the news, social media, even toxic people.
Oh yeah, got to stay away from those energy vampires.
For sure. But it also applies to, like, our internal dialogue,
What, you mean like the way we talk to ourselves?
Exactly.
Okay, so how do we do that? Like, how do we control our own thoughts?
Well, it starts with awareness.
Okay,
Throughout the day, just pay attention to the thoughts that are popping into your head.
got it.
And if you catch yourself thinking something negative, like, oh, I can't do this,
Yeah, I do that all the time.
we all do. But here's the key.
Mm.
You got to immediately reframe that thought into something more positive.
So instead of I can't do this, maybe it's I'm going to figure this out.
Exactly. It's such a subtle shift, but it can make a huge difference.
Okay, that makes sense. So we define our goal, we visualize it, we guard our minds. What's next?
This brings us to step 4, and this is the action piece.
Action. So it's not enough to just think about it. We got to actually do something.
Exactly. Nightingale was adamant that action is what bridges the gap between our dreams and reality.
Okay, so like what kind of action are we talking about here?
It doesn't have to be some big, grand gesture.
Okay.
In fact, Nightingale recommends starting small.
Small, like how small?
Break down your big goal into smaller, more manageable steps.
Okay.
And ask yourself, what's one tiny thing I can do today to move closer to my goal?
I like that. It feels way less overwhelming that way.
Right. And here's the key. Consistency.
It's just
You got to take action every single day, even if it's just a small step.
okay.
Those small actions will compound over time, and before you know it, you'll have created this momentum that will propel you towards your goal.
So it's like the more we do, the easier it gets.
Exactly.
Okay, I can get behind that. But what about, those times when we stumble, when we make mistakes or even just feel like giving up?
Well, those are just part of the journey.
Yeah.
The key is to view those setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow. Adjust your approach and come back even stronger.
So it's all about perspective.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've got our goal, we're visualizing, we're guarding our minds, we're taking action. Is there anything else we need to know?
Well, this all ties back to one of Nightingale's core messages.
Yeah.
Personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility.
Yeah. We're not victims of our circumstances.
Right.
We have the power to choose our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions.
Powerful stuff.
It is. And with that power comes the responsibility to create the life we truly desire.
So we've talked a lot about, the power of thought,
Mm-hmm.
the science behind it,
Yeah.
and all the steps we can take to really make it work for us.
Right.
But I got to ask, is it really that simple?
Right.
Can we really change our whole lives just by changing our thoughts?
Well, simple doesn't always mean easy,
Right.
Remember that analogy with the farmer and the seeds?
Yeah, the corn in the nightshade.
Exactly. Those seeds, they represent our thoughts.
Right.
But they won't just magically grow into something amazing.
Yeah.
We got to plant them in fertile ground
Okay.
and nurture them consistently.
So it's not like a quick fix or anything?
No, it takes real effort, consistency,
Okay.
and a willingness to, like, challenge those old patterns we've been stuck in.
Right. So where do we even begin?
Well, Nightingale's 30-day challenge is a great place to start.
Okay.
We've already gone over the first 4 steps.
Yeah, defining the goal, visualizing it, guarding our minds, and taking action.
Right. But let's dive a little deeper into some specific techniques.
Okay, yeah, give me the pro tips.
All right, so let's start with visualization.
Okay.
We talked about creating those vivid mental pictures,
Yeah.
but there's this technique called future scripting that can take it to a whole other level.
Future scripting. Okay, what's that?
So instead of just picturing your goal, you actually write about it as if it's already happened.
Oh, interesting. So like write a story about my dream life.
Exactly. Like you're writing a screenplay for your future self.
Okay, so get super detailed, like describe everything.
The more detail, the better. Like describe your surroundings, your emotions, who you're with.
Wow. Okay.
The more real it feels, the more it'll impact your subconscious mind.
I like that. It's like writing yourself a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
Okay, what about guarding our minds? Any tips for filtering out all that negativity?
Well, beyond limiting exposure to negative news and toxic people,
Hmm.
it's also about being mindful of our own self-talk.
Oh, right, that inner critic.
Yeah, exactly. So
Ah.
throughout the day, just pay attention to the thoughts that pop into your head.
Oh.
And if you catch yourself thinking something negative like, I can't do
Yeah.
this or I'm not good enough,
Yep, guilty as charged.
you got to immediately reframe that thought.
Okay.
Turn it into something positive and empowering.
So instead of I can't, maybe it's I'm learning or I'm growing.
Exactly. It's a simple shift, but it makes a big difference.
Okay, I can see that. So it's like we're training our brains to think differently.
Yes. And here's a cool little trick.
Okay.
Create a mantra or affirmation that you can repeat to yourself
Okay.
whenever those negative thoughts creep in.
Like a positive phrase.
Yeah, something like, I am capable, or I am worthy of success.
Okay, I like that.
Repeating those phrases can help to rewire those negative thought patterns over time.
Wow, so it's like we're giving our brains a new script to follow
Exactly.
instead of letting them run on autopilot with all those old limiting beliefs.
You got it.
Hmm. This is powerful stuff. And what about our environment? Like, does that play a role?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Surround yourself with people who support your goals, who inspire you,
Yeah, like a positive support system.
Exactly. And read books, listen to podcasts, create a space that feels good.
So it's like creating this positive feedback loop.
Exactly. The more positive input you surround yourself with,
Yeah.
the easier it becomes to maintain those positive thought patterns.
Okay, I'm getting this. But it's still a lot to take in, you know?
It does, yeah.
It's like a whole new way of thinking about life and our potential.
It is. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
You're going to stumble, you'll doubt yourself. You might even want to give up sometimes.
Yeah, that's real.
But those are just temporary setbacks.
Okay.
The key is to keep coming back to those core principles. Believe in yourself, choose your thoughts wisely, take action, and never stop growing.
Wow. Listener, I hope you're feeling as inspired as I am to put this secret into action.
Me too.
Remember, you have the power to create the life you want, starting with the thoughts you choose to focus on.
And like Earl Nightingale said, our minds are the most fertile gardens in the world. What we plant there will determine the harvest we reap.
So plant those seeds of success, nurture them with those positive thoughts and actions, and watch your life transform.
You got it.
What would your life look like if you truly believed anything was possible? That's something to think about. Until next time, keep thinking, keep believing, and keep creating the amazing life you deserve.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
And that's a wrap on The Strangest Secret.